great. My name is Jessica Holyfield, and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are going to be taking a look at NEXZ's Starlight. I believe this is considered a B-side to their debut, which is very exciting. Just recently looked at Ride the Vibe. Really enjoyed that for myself personally, and I'm intrigued on what we're going to be dealing with here. I've not heard the track, I've not seen the visual, I have no idea what I'm getting into, and I'm very pumped for that. We also have the track video we're also going to take a look at for more context and environment. Let's go ahead and get started. Yeah. Oh. The fingerprints on this feel familiar. I'm trying to figure out which choreographer is on this. I love this. Yes, yes. Those obliques gotta be in check if you're gonna do that. God, that part is so fun! How these movements are pieced together is so fascinating. I'm always here for one take. Come on. That was great. Oh, we're on the floor because we're dreaming. Get it? God, that was awesome. Oof, okay, we got the track video right here. Let's watch it. Oof.
I'm starlight. 눈에 또 비춰. 이런 감정 엄청 처음인 거야. Who's in a fit on your melody? 마치 자유로운 고백. Come and dance with me, make a 더 알고 싶은 너와의 하모니 날 이끄는 네 밤의 스타일이 낯설지만 설레는 들림 데려가 어서 저 너머로 새로운 문을 열어봐 사라져 상상보다 놀라워 웅크렸던 잠에서 깨어나듯이 어디라도 있겠다 그 눈빛을 따라서 내게 닿고 싶어져 가슴 벅찬 푸른빛 널 향한 그 눈빛을 getting starry 이밖에 없는 꿈 Yeah 절대 멈출 수가 없지 I never go back Just want it so bad 날 부르는 너의 손에 떨어진 나를 느껴 Yeah World's beating fast 가벼워진 나의
This reminds me of To Us's Omomo. That's what it reminds me of. This right here.
대로 할 수 있어 뭐든지 난 거치지 않는 astro 손짓 하나로 이끄는 maestro like ay 전혀 궁금해 right now ay 나를 믿어봐 no doubt 데려가 어서 저 너머로 새로운 꿈을 그려보자 사라져 상상보다 놀라워 쏟아지는 너라면 Baby now I see 더는 never let you go 어디가도 언제도 내게 닿고 싶어져 가슴 벅찬 푸른빛 널 향한 내 눈빛을 깨
Cool. It's like a spotlight on him. Cool. I like the filters and the shift between the two. I'm gonna take a guess. If they're going off of archive choreographers, maybe Rena would be a good option, would be my guess, of who would choreograph this. Or whoever choreographed Omomo by To Us could have choreographed this, is what it feels like. I'm gonna verify it, but that part is so good. It's so simple, but so effective. Wow. Way to go. I really like that. Goodness. Look, it's going in reverse. See? Really cool. Okay, let me go dig real quick. Okay, we all know I suck at finding information sometimes, so if one of you guys could tell me who choreographed this, was it Puzzle Pieced? I do know a lot of choreographies operate that way. Could be an affiliate with 1 Mil, could be Alex on this again. It wouldn't surprise me, but it's definitely, I mean, some of the choices are so well done. I really love how they formatted this choreo extensively. Okay, here we go. So we're just going to operate with It's Just Awesome, and let's move on. Okay, from the top here, this beginning gives me subtle Keone Madrid syncopation vibes. Could he have been on this? It wouldn't surprise me either, but also at the same time, I don't know what he's working on lately. He's been banger after banger, though, as every time his name pops up, I'm like, that makes sense. So I digress, though. I really like the setup in this beginning. It looks like he's dreaming, but his feet are actually operating on a completely different playing field. It is isolated. It also reminds me of Daniel Cloud Campos. He did a whole sketch of his feet, or putting on shoes made his feet, you know, no, it wasn't him. Oh my gosh, there was another guy, Step Up franchise. Oh boy, hold on. The video is called Elliot's Shoes, and it's with NEXZ. So if you hadn't seen that before, I highly implore you to go be curious about it. Also check out Daniel Claude Campos, incredible mover. I respect him immensely. There's just, the list goes on and on. The fact that I'm just stating those individuals as people that what this reminds me of just tells you the quality of what we're presenting. It has a sense of nostalgia behind it because of how some of the choices are formulated. It's just so great. But I really appreciate the isolation of what's going on with the feet, and he's literally asleep, and it goes, he takes it, really nice choices with the heels. What he has to be mindful of is making sure his weight is properly placed for these choices to read clearly without it infiltrating or influencing the rest of his body. So I love how it's hitting. I think it's like either a double bass or a cello, or like they're picking at it, which I really like. Yeah, boom, doo doo doo. Love that with the switch on that. He's awoken a little bit more. Da 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 da, and then it goes. He has a nice little moment here. Do 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 do. Cool, love it. Comes back in. Slowly comes up, walking. I love having 5 come back in. Looks great. And then he's entered. He throws the camera to where we see our 5. Really nice. I love the throw, and they kind of hop the feet together, scuff it together, straight into a sweep, into a rotation around. No time to rest. And maintaining the formation, but being mindful of where the chair is. Love that choice. They take it up. The conversational element that my guy has right here. Are we going to play the guessing game? Let me see how I feel. Yuki, maybe, be my guess here. This is Ken, or Goon, Geon. I think he changed his name, and I think Yuki changed his name too. I don't freaking know. Great start, Jess. Anyway, I like the twinkling happening right here at the top. Really fun to see. Hitting it through with da-da-da-da. Switching up with the arms. That's nice. I think that's Seta right there. Right? Forward to mark. That's Seta. Haru. And then there's others. There's like a couple more. And then there's... One of them's Tomoya. Is that Tomoya? Sure. We'll make him Tomoya today. I don't know. I could be wrong with all of them. Please be nice to me. I'm here for the dance. I'll learn their names eventually. At some point. I did at one point too. But I haven't studied. It's been a hot second. I like that little moment he had. And then we come right back in. Hitting it through. Boom. I love that choice. Bringing it through. Boom. Da-da-da-da. And they pulls everybody into a nice cohesive formation. I love this pat, 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 pat. Ties into a lot of these knockings on the head. Of course, with dreaming, you think of the head pretty often because cognitively, you develop dreams in your brain, right? Like, that's where it comes from, is up here. You don't develop a dream in your foot, you know? So it makes sense why we're going to entertain it up here at the top. I love the knocking as we bring it down, but we also have our feet. I'm assuming we could entertain like a... I've heard this called a couple different things, maybe like a bedrock, or it's just more of like it's a legato switch of the feet. Sometimes I've heard crab step, but it's more legato. But I think that's a bedrock, to my knowledge. But I like that where he goes to the little running as they go in transition. I thought that was a cute little moment, subtle but effective. Then they go right here into a very nice formation. But the formation starts diagonal and then they interweave themselves with a nice little accent on the track and the sound to make that a fun moment, environmentally creating, you know, depth to our feature in this moment. That's cool. Love that harmony. So it's like riding a wave, like a sound wave is what I would equate that to, with the harmony. I love this choice. Bum, bum, click, click. Really nice. Great usage of the legs, hitting it through, rotating it around. So there's a lot of these types of choices where instead of doing the same thing on the same timing on both sides, they hit it and then they wind it up, or they prep for a really nice accented moment that makes it feel familiar, but it shifts in a different way. I've talked about this a couple times before, but of course I never know in which video, so we'll just entertain it here because I'm thinking of it. Bodman Area 47, that's a sliver of our brain. I got this name from the author of The World in 6 Songs, and this is your brain on music. He's the author of those 2 books, and he says he studied this for quite a long time, and he calls it this, so he didn't name it, I didn't name it. So go be curious. Bauman Area 47 is a part of your brain that is a pattern detector. So a lot of times when we look at information, we look at a choreography is a great example, because that's what we're doing. And if you're predicting something to happen and it fails, which is what has happened quite a few times in this choreo, 3 things end up happening. So if it passes, it meets your degree of expectation that you're expecting here, it's going to come across more boring, higher chances of it coming across that way. If it fails and you don't like it, you don't like the choice, that's more of your subjective, you know, cultural upbringing influences that a lot of times in what you're exposed to in music. If you don't like it, you're gonna exude contentment, disgust, and anger. And then if you end up, in my case, I would fall in this pool. If the pattern fails, but you like it, you learn something. So for me, I feel like I'm learning so much. And as humans, we naturally have the inclination to want to learn. So naturally, here, I'm looking at the choreo, I feel like I'm learning something in a lot of these choices and these progressions. So it makes me want to stay engaged and watch it. Whether it's the music choice, how they're hitting the music, musicality is what we call that, their presentation, their performance, things along those lines. When you're learning a new character portrayal, let's say if you're like a fan, which, side note, the fandom name for this group is probably my top 5 favorite fandom names. Next to Y is so ingenious to me. It is incredible how, like, it makes sense because they're NEXZ and they have a Z in their name and it's next to Y and Z is next to Y. Oh my God. God, whoever came up with that gets a freaking raise. Anyway, now we've moved on from there. All of that to say, I really like this choreo. I really like what I'm seeing here. I'm so glad I'm looking at it. And it makes me, I feel inspired. I feel like I'm learning something from these progressions and how it's structured. Shout out choreographer, choreographers. I love it. Love that with the hit right there. Nice little tap. And then they take the arm and they make it complement with what's going on with the foot. So they're just tapping it. They're switching, doing a little ball change, but allowing the foot to kind of sift through in front. From here, they take it over. Notice that's a speed change what ended up happening. So they prepped it and then they sped up the turn. Oh my God, cool. Like, come on. Look at this. Yeah, it goes boom, doo-doo-doo. They waited till the doo-doo-doo to turn. God, that makes me mad. How cool that is. That's so cool. Okay, I love the scuff. Dun, 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 dun. It's a lot of those quick things. Instead of hitting, and then, like, they're catching beats. You know, it kind of feels like, you know, like a martial artist who's training and they, like, catch a fly with chopsticks, or they're, like, catching a fish in the river. That's what it feels like. They're taking the beats and they're dancing, bam, ba-da, and they're catching the beats while they're dancing. That is so captivating, and I feel like I'm learning and growing by hearing their track. They're allowing me to hear the track the way they want it to be heard, right? Whether it's NEXZ or not, whoever was in charge, movement, direction, choreography, whoever helped on the vocal side, all of that, I'm getting it. I see what you want me to see, and I'm here for it. I love it. And right there, notice that they didn't stop. Boom. They accented, but then they continued on, and they continued a really nice legato groove in the torso. Nice presentation. He goes a little knock, knock, and he presents over to the side. New person's entered the chat. I love this. He covers, and then he says, psh, no, get away. And then, of course, you have some subtlety going on the back where other people mimicking him possibly, but based on the angle, I can't really verify that. So they turn into a circle, and I love how he just walks back, not even looking. So there's enough space, and it's clean because of the space, to have him walk back, and they are equal in their spacing around, so it feels cohesive and symmetrical. Looks great. There's your wave womb. Notice it's very full around the elbow section of it. So they took the energy and brought it up. Now, some things you can be susceptible to do when you do a wave from the ground or down, and to bring it up is sometimes we get this overshooting spot where your wrist is too far underneath the elbow. And a lot of times what I've been taught, what I teach, is stay in your lane. We call it a stay in your lane mentality with the joints. You don't want the elbow to be hanging out with the shoulder. You don't want the wrist hanging out with the elbow in terms of justification of the wave. The wave does billow underneath itself, but that's not something that's seen in the illusion of waving. You can do it, but you gotta have better familiarity with the presentation of the arm. All that to say, how they did this, very clean, very clear. I appreciate it because I'm able to see the wave being brought up as a dynamic choice and not as this extra curling effect that ruins the integrity of the shape. Love it. Then from there, they go and they grab hands, and then they go up and they swing it down. Feels like a star, and there's a lot of star imagery that we see throughout this, which is cool. Subtlety right there. They throw. There's so many of those catches. Like they take it, and then they collapse it down, usage of the diaphragm, flexing it to drop them nice and low. Then right there, ba, ba, ba. So notice we do kind of like an every other where everybody comes up, boom, half, and then boom, half, Really nice to see that. And you end up seeing that again wherever they have their hands, that boom, 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 that I really, really loved. And I'm such a fan of what we're watching right now. I like that there where they go. They have a subtle sweep, and then they're going to make it a bigger sweep, little ranajam, making it match the wrist rotation here. Very fun. Step it out, boom, boom. Little knock knock. We already were given symptoms of the snock in passing with one of our features as he got out before our next feature entered the chat in the line. Then from here, we rotate it once again. It's the same. It's actually very similar choreo to what we've already seen, but it feels like it's presented and packaged so differently. That is a smarter, not harder method for members so their body is able to become more familiar with the movement, but you structure it, repackage it, and make it more effective and efficient in your finger, and like putting your fingerprints all over the choreo. It makes it feel like it all makes sense because there's overlap in the choices, but it's not boring. That's nice. There's your presentation again, but notice they created more fullness in the chest that second time. That hit and nice with the snap there. Bringing it through, hitting it through, bump, bump, really nice. And switch, so it goes bump, 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 bump. Then it goes na-na right there on the syllables. Really nice. I always appreciate it whenever we see choreography done in K-pop choreo, specifically because they sing, on two parts of the music where they, when they perform live, have power and influence over the choice that is made in that part. So it just ups the level of consideration, captivation, and collaboration between what's going on in the choreographer's perspective and the member's perspective, because they technically, the more you have choreography on certain parts of the music, meaning like on the vocals specifically, that is a part that you have to be very mindful if you choose to deviate from it. So in that section right there, he has to hit it in that way in order for that part of the music to make sense, because that movement went on his syllables. It's kind of my point. So all that to say, I like it. I love it because I'm used to seeing it in a choreo, in crew choreo, but in a K-pop sense, I just admire it, and I'm always appreciative whenever I get to see choreographers dive into that realm. That's so nice. There's your little sweep once again. So we are seeing an overlap of sweeps. We have sweeps going to the front, sweeps or ranajams going to the back. Depends on the context of the move. From here, we're getting into the part that just captivated me very much. So we may have to slow it just to appreciate it. I love the knock, knock, knock. So instead of knocking, we're knocking towards our body, but we're using the elbow to help provide more of a bounce to it there without making it affect what's going on with the rest of the body. Taking it through, da-da-da, really nice and quick. Accents with the arms to go to the back. The starry, so it goes up. Notice with stars, we're using a lot of our space up here because stars are in the sky. So I like that choice where we're looking, stargazing almost is a great way to look at it. Bring it in, do-do-doom, do-doom, once again. Bring it in, boom, boom, right there, catching that sound. They're catching it with their fingers, really nice. Then they're picking it through, da-da-da, da-da. Notice on the harmonies, da-da, da-da. Feels like a rainbow of vibes. I love it. Then from there, oh God, boom, and then they hit it, boom, and then they do a little chug in order to keep it accented to the side. Goodness gracious, this is cool. Yeah, da-da-da-da-da, and then they go. Yeah, so this part, boom, boom, is the quickness. It's, so like technically you would see people go 1, 2, 3, and they hit over on the same degree of, energy, boom, boom, boom. They wouldn't do a speed change, or they wouldn't do like a, boom, doo-doo. Like, they wouldn't catch it a lot of times. You don't see that as often. Hence another thing, my predictability failed in a great way. I learned something. There's so many deceptive speed changes in this. I really don't know if people understand. I didn't really understand it until I was looking through it in this way with a fine-tooth comb. There is a heck of a lot of speed changes in this, in a lot of these choices. In how it's syncopated, a lot of the polyrhythm choices, it's the suspense in the tension in the turn before it speeds it up. Goodness gracious, that is so impressive on the choreographic inception, but also in their competency to showcase it. Oh, wow. Love that choice. Boom, da, 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 bum, bum. Love it. Tapping on the head. Then from here, they take it right here. Instead of shaking it, they're making it and turning it into a trace down the body. As they're doing sweeps once again, there we go. Hit, hit, hit. Notice how much more full this got, and then they branch it back up. golly. From there, boom, do-do-do. So there's a lot of rocks and a lot of rebounds that are taking place too. So your weight shifts can get really dicey really fast if you start your weight on the wrong part of the foot or on the wrong foot entirely. You're screwed for the section is what this looks like. So I love the discipline of their practice. You can definitely see, I saw it in the archives and the behind the scenes of that. I love seeing it here. It is of no shock to me that they are clean. It's something that's kind of an expectation or a role that they have claimed as a K-pop group or as a global group is synchronicity. Groups claim that early on in their careers. Some groups are known for their charisma, their live performances, ATs, but also ATs can hold it down in cleanliness nowadays, especially because of who they've been working with. Whenever you work with a group of people, it really helps. It like a select group of people, like you work with the same people, your body's going to get used to it. And in this case, they're going to work together for a long time, and they also did a survival show together. So they have a lot of lived experience with each other. And you know what I mean? So, and they're all like kind of transplanted out of Japan to Korea, you know, and they're kind of residing there. So there's a lot of communal, relatable feelings that they all feel with each other. So it makes sense how a lot of their movement qualities are going to be influenced in the similar ways because of their background, which I think is so cool. It's God, so cool. That part right there, boom, do-doom, really like the bounce down. Dee-dee-dee, like that little run there. That part is really nice because you gotta have your obliques like in the clear to pull something like that off that quick. Subtle, really full, and then they bring it right back in. So cute. It's fun, but it's also like niche to their age. You know what I mean? Like it feels like we're not trying to be older than we are, younger than we are. It feels like we are NEXZ. This is who we are right now, and we're living in it. And I'm here to live in it with them. It's great. I love that. That was cool. Da, da, da. The look, the subtlety of the conversation, I would say my winner right now for most conversational elements about their feature is my guy right here. I think I pointed him out the first time I saw him featured. I love his choices because it feels very, he's telling me a story. He's inviting me in to have a conversation or to be a part of whatever they're bringing. I love that. It's not just a presentation. It's a collaboration between viewer and mover. I think that's what a girl can ask for. Like, I think that's exactly what I would want as somebody who's a viewer of anything ever, is I want to be invited in. Unless it's uncomfortable, then I don't. But in this case, I do. I want to be a part of the Starlight. What does that mean? You know, what does that mean to you? I feel what it means from him, and I'm living in it. This is great. His ain't boom, and they go and they do a little slide over. Love that fun little reveal right here from the back. Looks great. This part. Okay, we're slowing it down. This is what it is. Okay, we didn't even get to it. I was already, oh golly. Okay, here we go. The slide. I love that little reveal. Super fun. And I'm assuming my guy in the, whoa. Oh, did you guys see that? Can we? This does call for celebration. I love that. Okay, I'm trying to find my marker. I'm assuming my guy right here is my feature because he was the only one not seen in the shot until the curtain reveal of that transition took place. So that's why I'm clocking him. I don't know if he actually is, and that's fine. This part right here, we're here to talk about this movement sequence. Okay, so they take it, this right here, they hit it. I really love this choice, and the pickup of the feet is really fun, very joyful. Then they take it, boom, boom, an extra hop to the side. It goes boom, doom, doom, doom. And then they take it into an I love you. Then right there to the back, right there, stability check, jumping onto the right leg. Then they clap it, boom, ba-da-da. So oh my God, there's so much in this, golly. Then they build it up, and it ties together a lot of the knocking they've been doing earlier. Your hands matter, how they look, how they come across because of stuff like this. Take with the clap, da-da-da. Peace sign right there, and rock on sign into a lot of this have a more like animalistic progression of the groove. And they clap it down into a blade, and then from here, da-da-da, notice that they changed the hand. It's no longer a fist. It's a conversational element, yeah. And then they dig and dig. And then subtle, and wow, so that's, to me, that's the first predictable you meet my prediction pattern making of the entire thing, and we are halfway through. Oh my God, incredible. Like that right there is the first time. This little mess right here, boom. That feels more on brand of what I would normally predict for that type of movement sequence. Good God. Okay. Switch, da-da, and then from here, they go, they take it, really nice, fun vibe, boom, boom. Now, this is the first time you're seeing people make actively different choices. You have some people here, some people here, some people here, some people here, but everybody's elbow is out, but everyone's hands are slightly different. So if they're supposed to have all the same hand, that would be a note that I would give them. But because they've showcased such a very strict degree of cleanliness in so many different areas that a lot of times you don't see as often for a group this early, those little things, we tend to be more forgiving of these little discrepancies, like where your hand is placed to the degree of the fingers, because they've already justified competency and complexity and polyrhythms and the grooves in the formations and levels and staging and spacing and the concepts. Like all of that was justified in the first minute. So in this case, whenever you're starting to see these things, you tend to glaze over it, or you don't see it as a top priority in comparison to all the other things that they've enhanced in you, especially if you've been learning throughout the process like myself. You tend to kind of overlook the areas that you don't learn because you're still seeking the learning bits, right? Anyway, but that's just more probably a personal preference note for me. Not really has anything to do with anything. The slide in, and a tap, tap. Now, will I say that there is a lot of overlap in some of these choices? There's a lot of sweeps. I'm noticing a lot of these hops that are taking place, some claps, but how they're really making it tasteful is exactly what I said. The syncopation, the speed changes, how they're taking it up, dropping it down, the formations, the transitions get the same amount of love as the content. We're prioritizing everything effectively for the track. From there, boom, do-do-do. Really nice seeing that choice out. That whole thing reminds me of To Us. That the omomo, you know, but theirs was more choppy, isolated. They're a Gen 5 group too. They're under Pleiadius, right? So I just find this, it's just interesting. I like seeing it. That part is what really made me think, I wonder if the same choreographer fingerprinted on both. I like the choice. I don't think they're plagiarizing. That's not on them. It's just really similar, but it's just different song track, different groups. So there's all that. And they're also a group of 7, not a group of 6. So there's all that stuff. I like the swing here. Bah, bah. It does have a retro, subtle vibe to it. And I love on that second one, he swings and clips that foot across, and it causes everybody to turn. In that turn, boom, they all ball change out of it. Really nice. They take the hand and subtle here, and then they bleed it into the inside. And then we go, new transition over. Da 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 da. I love that. Now, hold on. Who was my... Oh, okay. So I said... he was very captivating. He was my first person that I saw, right? I may have said the wrong person. That's fine. Remember, we're going to be nice to Jess about names today. Okay, I got it right once. So we'll work on it, you know. But anyway, these two are very captivating in their choices. So if it's not just him, he really captivated in a great way. He also captivated. Let's see what he does here in this feature to see if he gets the title of most captivating person today. But everybody's nice and low. He comes back in. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Notice that we're taking the body and we're really promoting and making it fun in the torso, and we're digging it over to the side, and we're allowing our hands to build up that energy too. I like this add-on that happened there. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Astro. Cool. And switching it through. Do-do-do-do-do. Really like that bounce on that. And then we're bringing it through. I like that on both sides. Boom, and a da-da-da-da. This is honestly probably one of the only sections where you really see things done on both sides fully. Hey, notice he let that head go on. Hey, as he rotated around. My neck's really sore, so that would hurt to do, and I could get motion sick, but I digress. I love that hit. Now, it does feel like we were about to do like a lock-in almost, but not really. That right there, an explosion on the A. Then you have the A, and then the A with a throw. Great dynamic shifts. Something that I've talked about just a little bit, but not a ton. I did start doing something called Choreo with Jess, which is Patreon votes on what tracks they want me to choreograph to, and I choreograph to them my own lens. And a lot of time, the only tracks that I do are ones that I hadn't really seen the choreo, or there is no choreo to it, because once I see choreography onto a track, especially if I like it, it's really hard for me to deviate and have my own perspective, because I respect their perspective so much. That's like my vibes in the K-pop scene specifically for myself, but I digress. My point being though that as I started doing that a little bit, what I'm noticing is that I can see the heartbeat and the digestibility of choreography more effectively and more empathetically, because I started putting myself in that position again, not as a teacher to dancers to choreograph, but as a physical mover creating choreo. to where it's like, okay, it's not good to practically do this move or hit this part of the music this long. It'd be better to chop it here, represent this part right here because the audience naturally wants to hear it. But then this sound over here, I want to hear, even though the audience may not hear it, but I have to justify this first to get them appeased, and then I can talk about this. Like there's like a lot of different structures, and choreographers, a lot of times they think differently, but it helps me by doing that appreciate when I see it done so freaking well, which is this right here. Like it is the aggressiveness, the speed changes into the subtleties. None of it's overpowering to the track, but all of it is very complementary to the track. It makes it have breath behind it. It has substance, it has purpose. And that's what you want with choreo, is that's the physical visual representation of your music. And I see that here. I love that little train there. It definitely feels like we have like a nice line. I don't know if it was supposed to be curved or not, but because they've showcased a high degree of competency and many elements, my first note is not going to think, oh, this is a mistake. It's I wonder if this is a wave preference, and because of our angle, we're only seeing it a particular way. So I love the angle of that, where they all take their head and move it. Da-da-da. I really like that. Do-do-do. And notice that sound, and they're bleeding it in a fun trace right there at top. And they're hitting it through side to side. Of course, the range is slightly different on everybody. Some have it covering their eyes, some still have it connected. Your feature, of course, has his completely separated, which he can deviate and modify, which I think is great. Then they hit it through da-da-da-da-da. And then this part right here feels so familiar. I've seen that many a times. We see this part, girl group choreo, boy group choreo. You see this, your mama's barbecue probably. You know, I like it. Same note for everybody is to be very mindful of the connection between the two. They do that. It looks great. Of course, you want it to be the same degree of the wave from start to finish, where you originate to where you finish. You don't want it to be too quiet and then too loud, unless it's the intention of speed change musicality note. But most of the time it is done pretty much the same all the way across the board. I like the choice. And I love his twinkling he does there to showcase the subtlety of control. Then he rotates to get them all to move to a different spot. I love this because in this case, it feels like we are creating a star, but very abstractly. Kind of feels like we've deconstructed a straight line. And normally you see these arms outlier in the line, but in this case, you see it in the diagonal, and then you see the arms create a fun kind of tree-like organic branch structure. And he's over here at the base of it. I really love that. Like, it works. You know what I mean? Like, that's a risky formation with arm placement, because sometimes it may not read, but it reads here because of how contextually they start and finish by getting into this. It looks great. I like the twinkling, really nice, like stars, sliding it in. There's your, what is it, the sweep and the pas de bourrée, using your finger rotation looks great, taking it through, and then we're taking our legs. Little knock knock, and then we go, bringing it through, dun da 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 da. There's your sweep once again. So that's the most, if you want to glean something from this, what is the one move, if you wanted to set yourself up for the most success on doing this choreo, learn how to do a sweep. Learn how to do a ranajam. Learn how to switch between your weight, between the sliding of the foot, and to actually rotate it without sacrificing the angle of your hips. You want to try to keep your hips square in whatever direction you're trying to go from. Practice going front and going back, and you're going to know probably at least 5% of this routine just from the sweeps alone. Everything else is stacked on top of it, but that's a really good base. Ranajams. I like bringing that through. Bum, bum, once again, building it up just like we did before. Boom, da-da-da. Notice how it felt a little bit heavier. Part of it can stem from the fact we're building up our energy in our track. It could also be because it's a different person representing the tone, and they want to match the choreography to that tone, because like I said, it is choreography tailored to the syllables or the execution of the vocals. So now it's a different vocalist. So does the choreography change? I would say educated guess should be yes, especially if the vocalist does sound different, which he does, and I think the movement matched his vocals effectively there. I love that. There's your sweep once again. There's your hit. Bringing it through, started. All of this, the exact same, but because it was so fascinating the first time, I don't mind a second watch. And I've talked about the power of threes. This is not something that I'm projecting as a generalization. This is something that is just, if you've ever been curious about it, see if it applies to you. Whenever you see something done the same way multiple times, typically around your third or fourth time, it can start to become redundant or boring. In this case, this is only the second time we're seeing it, so it feels just as captivating, or there's something new, or there's more information for us to glean from it. But if they did the same same thing again, then we would be like, okay, we kind of need something different, maybe levels, dynamics, different content for this part, things like that, even if the vocalist changes. So all that to say, I really like the fact that this track does feels like a B-side. It doesn't feel like we have a lot of density to it. I don't really think we have a bridge. You know, we have this, we have an outro. It's great, but it doesn't really allow us the opportunity to get bored with it because even the song structure doesn't even equate to a third course. So, way to go. I like that with the heaviness. Boom, and hit. Really nice. Yeah, very conversational once again. So I still feel like I really am captivated by how he's performing. So I'll still give it to him. Even though I did think he was somebody else earlier, they both handled it so well. And I really like his conversational elements. I still stand by what I said and what he reminded me of. So I digress from there. Love that little sweep around and they go hit. The travel on that was really nice and very clean of the fact that he's in the position he's in. So it still maintains symmetry, but he's still the feature. Very nice. Love that. And they hit it through. Boom. The fullness of this. Bringing it through. Da-da-da-da. Nice little shimmy to bring it to the inside. Okay, if I'm going to guess who Tomoya is, I think that's Tomoya. I think that's Ken Guan. I think somebody's a Yuki in this, right? A Yuki exists, maybe. Is that a Yuki right there? Is the other guy a Yuki? Am I Yuki? Great. Awesome. Cool. No problem. That part's fun. Notice there's a subtlety in the drop of the levels. You have two people a little bit lower, everybody else a little bit higher. And of course, my one guy who doesn't keep it here, I'm going to assume he's my feature next. So let's see if he is. The answer is he's not. He just came out of it early. So that would be my note, but I had it paused. So I caught it. Well, I think, honestly, when you think about the timing, he did pretty fine. I don't think that was really an issue because I have to crawl or take the energy through. Little, come on, little action there. Really nice. Love it. Sliding it through, da-da-da-da. Yep. Da-da-da-da-da. Speed changes are so fun. I think my brain gets tricked every time. I think they're about to do a sneeze because of their setup. You know what I mean? That boom. I'm expecting them to freaking book it to the side, but they stop it. They cut it off. Boom, boom, da. That's what's getting me on that. Where my brain cannot disassociate because I have not seen somebody sequence it like this before. So cool. Hit, da 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 da. Yeah, da da da. Yeah. So they go still fist, different texture dynamic. I love it. Then they build it up. Do-do-do. Notice that there's always movement going on in the torso. This is really hard to clean. Getting everybody's chest and hips and all of this on the same playing field, not just linearly, you know, like in on one plane, but it's a multi-planed perspective of how they're going about their torsos. And that is so cool. Yep, dig. I love the double on that once again. Very nice to have a chill moment. Let my brain breathe. Thank you. Switching da-da-da-da. Take it up. Everyone's doing their own thing there. I'm assuming that's an individualized choice. I like it. Yeah, right there. So clean in the transition. Thank you. Yeah. Da-da-da-da-da. Cool. Tap, tap, tap. Hit it in a swing. Really nice. They take it. They hit it. Nice little ball change in the rotation. Ding, 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 ding. Really nice once again. Notice our feature, he went opposite compared to everybody else. Everybody else, I think, tailored it over. Yeah, everybody tailored it over to stage left in their torso, but he tailored it over stage right. So that was a great way to do the same thing, but face just diagonally, subtly different. Oh, look, it's a party over here. Love it. Oh, where's my confetti? God, I love it. I feel that was a really strategic, fun way for him to still be featured, but do the same choreo. It's kind of my point. I really like that. That was dope. And we walk. I love that. Notice it kind of dialed down the movement there. I made it very subtle. Yeah, da-da-da. Really cool. I like the circle. It does remind me of archive days. It gives me that, which I think is fun. Conversation. Do-do-do. Well, let's share the title. I'll give it to my two guys that look, one of them could be Yuki, is my guess, because they're so similar. So these two, I think, they win for best compassion in terms of the presentation of the choreo. I really like that, of course, in the circle. I like how they hit it really nice on that crunch to create some pull, some tension out of that. Looks really cool. Little tap, 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 and they take that energy with the arm and bleed it in. But notice that they set it create a nice angle instead of just allowing it to go all the way through. They go through the arm, but they create a really fun, refined shape out of it. Dun, dun, dun. Cool. This part, ooh, it's so fun because what happens is it goes every other. And it also, it messed with my brain ever so slightly because what happens is normally when you have a third person right here, they either start or they finish. He technically finished, but how it happened, normally you follow the pattern. Normally you would go 1, they would go, no one else would go. Then they would go, no one else would go. And then they would go, group of 3. Or if he started, then it would expand out from him. But that's not what happened at all. What ended up happening is it went every other first. So it's these, like these guys. And then group 2 happens. Group 3 happens. Let's watch this and appreciate it because I loved it both times I saw it. It's so good. Watch it one more time just because we can. Ready? You saw that, ready? First group. And they take it, instead of just the piano note down, they take the piano and bring it up. That's another great note too. It went from 4 to 1. So it went from a high number to a low number. And so it's actually bringing us back to like our starting place, which is really fun. I'm dreaming. And we go to the finish. Starry Night. And there's our little pianos where everyone's accented there, but it feels very, you know, reactionary. It doesn't feel choreographed. He just has his moment and they all complement it with movement, which is great. They slide in and he finishes. Let's get a round of applause for me. Thank you for having this. Thank you for teaching me new things, new structures. This was such a joy to watch. Goodness gracious. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. If you want to see more NEXZ, I have it. I got a lot of it on YouTube. I think pretty much all of it's on YouTube, but I always early release everything on Patreon first. So if you are a fan, if you are a part of the NEXZ fan club, God, I love that name so much. And you want early access to stuff, Patreon's gonna be a great place to get it as I react to it. You don't have to worry about waiting, following a schedule, that kind of stuff. It's just, as I look at it, we get to see it together. And I have seen all of their archives, and I've seen their debut, and I've seen this now. So I've seen quite a few pieces of material from them. I still have not seen their survival show excerpts. I do intend on watching that one day, but we're gonna just take our time, get there when it's naturally time for us to get there. I'm very pumped to see what they do in the future because this was phenomenal on them. I really loved I love who they have choreographing for them. I hope that doesn't change, or if they do change, it just fits very well for what they need as a group during that time. Once again, my name is Jess. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.